Okay, so I started recording. So let's start this off. Marker. Anyway, so what is asexuality? So to those that do not know, oh crap, skip slide. First of all, asexuality can pertain to two things in this area. Asexuality can both be just asexuality and a spectrum. It can also be an umbrella term for other ones, which also includes asexuality as the sexuality. Asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction. Like this manifests in like the thoughts, you know, like the way to really think about it is that like you look at like the best way to put it is like for heterosexual people it is what they would feel towards the same sex, and for homosexual people what they would feel for the opposite sex. Absolutely nothing when it comes to like that attraction towards that. Which, by the way, fun fact real quick, we have 11K members on this server. 1% of people in the population are ace, apparently, was the statistics that have been found for various surveys. So that would mean that, statistically, about 110 people on this server are ace. So first off, let's clear up some knots as to what asexuality is. It is not celibacy, and it is not abstinence. Celibacy is the act that because of your beliefs or your religion, you decide that you will not partake in those acts. Abstinence is you are waiting for that special someone until you get married. It is absolutely not just a phase. It is not just, again, it doesn't exist. You don't have it for a bit and then it suddenly appears. That's not necessarily completely how it works. It is a sexuality. It is not a hormonal issue. There are definitely hormonal issues that can cause changes to the libido, but that is a completely different system. Like sexuality has been pertaining more towards towards like it's just your brain, how you think and stuff like that. Well, that's more like endocrinological stuff. A result of trauma. Some people have like trauma can generate negative feelings towards sex and stuff like that, and they can affect that. But that is not what that is. This is the absence of sexuality. Right? It's not a fear or hatred of sex, and more on that later. Now, real quick to pass by some definitions. What is allosexuality? Allosexuality just means that you're not ace, or you're not on the ace spectrum. That's just about what it means. Heterosexual, bisexual, pansexual, homosexual, all those are allosexualities. There's some layers here. Some more definitions. So not all aces are the stereotype, which would be sex negative, which is they have a negative view towards sex. It can vary, really. It depends. Like some are sex positive, which means they have a favorable view towards sex. They might want it, or they might just be like, yeah, sure, dude, sounds like fun. Or sex neutral, or like, whatever, like, I could do it. I could go for a slice of pizza. It's all the same to me, bro. And then sex negative is just, I would really rather not. And, different things in sex, this definition can be expanded with some different stuff, which can also intermingle, which is sex favorable, which is more like how you view, like those reviews towards like sex in general. And then there's sex favorable, like these feelings in sex, which is like to yourself, how you as a person feel about sex towards yourself, right? And that's stuff. Sex favorable is like, yeah, I would like to do it. While the other one is like, oh, I don't mind seeing sex and stuff like that. And indifferent is like, yeah, it's, again, whatever, right? Like I could go for a slice of pizza, like, don't really care. Averse is like, I'd rather not. They could, but they'd rather not. And like, it's not necessarily something that they would like to do. Like, it's not completely outside the realm of possibility. Well, I mean, nothing's ever out of the realm of possibility, but it's like, they just would not like to do it. And then there's sex repulse, which is, please, no, yuck, keep that away from me. Now, something to clear up with all these definitions when it comes to these is that they're not exclusive to asexual people. Heterosexual people, bisexual people, homosexual people, pansexual people, everybody has these feelings. Everybody really goes down into one of these sort of categories. Like, it's not an ace-exclusive thing. It's just a stereotype was generated. Now, let's talk about asexuality as a spectrum. There are many terms that exist when it comes to asexuality as a spectrum, but I'm going to focus on demisexuality, gray ace, and asexual. Demisexuality is a sexual orientation where people only experience sexual attraction to folks that they have close emotional connections with. In other words, demisexual people only experience sexual attraction after an emotional bond has formed. They need to have known someone for quite a long time. For some people, it can be they have to have known someone for 2 to 3 years before they can get any thoughts like that. For others, it has to be like they have to have known them for about 3 months. Again, it's a spectrum. It can vary. But that is how they found this group, that this label represents them. That they need to have been in long-term bond with someone before they can have any feelings. Gray ace is the it's kind of like most of the time you're ace, but it's not really like that, right? It's a once in a blue moon. You get those thoughts once in a blue moon. Maybe you only get those thoughts like once in a blue moon, or maybe you only get those thoughts once in a blue moon of a person, like every 1 in a billion people. They are, for the most part, experiencing an absence of sexual attraction, but sometimes there's that magical someone or that magical day where it suddenly appears for a very brief point in time. I am not gray, so I can't necessarily speak on it. Well, I mean, at least I don't know, because I currently identify as full ace, and I have not ever experienced it. Maybe one day I'll have a blue moon. Who knows? These terms, your personal labels, can vary. Oh, I get it. You can be any of those three. Why, yes, demisexuality, gray sexuality, and asexuality are 100% valid. They're not the only ones in the spectrum, nor are they rigid definitions. There are many degrees of experience between demi-grays and the gray aces, and there are also many different labels. It's about self-discovery in the spectrum. The labels are only there to help someone explain your feelings. I know there's one that's like Cupid or something. And then there's another one that's like you experience sexual attraction, but it disappears as soon as reciprocated. There's a lot of I don't want to call them micro terms, but there's a lot of less common terms and labels that, I can't simply speak about because I'm not as well versed on them, and it's quite better to focus on these for the cursory experience. So wait, you're asexual. Why are you dating X? Sexual attraction does not equal romantic attraction. A lot of aces could be something called aromantic, and a lot of aces who are aromantic, a lot of times they'll just straight up just say I'm just ace, and end it at that. I'm just going to use this thing. It's been labeled as a term called it's been labeled as the split attraction model, or the SAM. However, that term has some origins on exclus language, exclusionists who want to keep asexuals out of the LGBTQ community, and it's a major yikes. So the term exists and it has some merit, but you got to be careful who you use it and who you use it around with. But the main point is that sexuality is not necessarily the end-all be-all. There's also the romantic attraction side of things. For example, I am asexual biromantic, which means I like boys, gals, and all between. What is aromanticism? Well, I myself am not an aromantic person, so I can't really come on to speak for it. But a lot of times, the terms for asexual can kind of translate into aromanticism. It's a separate community, and they have their own terms and their own labels. But for example, I, as a biromantic, I'm labeled as an alloromantic. A lot of these terms do translate. There's demi-romantic, gray romantic, and aromantic. These terms do translate, and so do the sex negative ones, for example, could be relationship negative and stuff like that. They can, but I wouldn't 100% confirm it. It's not my experience. It's not something I base my research on. I am ace. I'm in this community. It's not something I can really speak on. And then we get on to really the last thing that I gotta really speak about, which is IDing. IDing is what you choose as your labels, and it can change the flow of a river. It can change a lot. And with your experience, as you discover yourself, it might change. You might you might think you're one thing, and then turns out a year down the line you find out, oh, actually maybe I'm not, right? I used to think I was bisexual, and then I figured out that Oh wait, I feel the same about boys and girls and everything in between. That's because I feel nothing to either of them. However, I figured out that I'm also romantic, which is like I was confusing those romantic feelings with, like, I thought that was the end all be all. I didn't really get what sexual attraction was. And then we get on to, like, for example, gender. For example, is another thing. One of the big labels. I for a long time labeled myself as cis, and it went to maybe I'm full on like trans MTF, and then now I'm currently stuck with the label of I'm non-binary, and I don't really want to dabble further into other labels. I've kind of settled on they them for now, and like I don't really want to go delve in further. But the thing is, like, this quote right here: "Live life first, apply labels second. Labels are only here to help you describe, or really like help you narrow down sort of like your experience, or like have something you can identify with. But they're not the really end all be all. You know, they can change." And now we move on to, like, here are some. Oh crap! The third one didn't show up. Anyway. These go on to set. These are not like one-page things. These are a list of resources. Both these links have a list of resources, and I'll put them in chat in a bit. But damn, okay, I went through this a lot quicker. So I am now going to end the recording, and we go to the floor.